Hey, this is the next installment in our Rooted Devotional. We're taking a look at some of the key players in the Old Testament, and I get Joshua. And there's a lot I could talk about with Joshua, but my favorite story, or my favorite part of the story of Joshua, really comes in Joshua chapter 1, where 3 times God tells Joshua to be strong and courageous. And so I want to look at those 3 key times when he says that. The first is in chapter 1, verse 6, where God tells Joshua to be strong and courageous, for you will distribute the promised land to the nations. And so God is telling him that he needs to lead well, that he needs to be strong and courageous and lead well. And for Joshua, leading well was going to be hard. This was a stubborn, disobedient people who had often walked away from God. And so it would force Joshua to trust God. The first battle is the Battle of Jericho, where the military strategy is to walk around the city each day for a week. And so Joshua was going to have to be strong and courageous in how he led the people of God to trust God. The second time that God tells him to be strong and courageous is in verse 7. He says to be strong and courageous, to observe carefully the whole instruction Moses has commanded you. Joshua was to be committed to God's word. And you would think, why would that require strength and courage? Well, in Numbers chapter 13 and 14, Joshua is one of the 12 spies who are sent into the promised land to scout it out. And so they look at the land and they come back and they report to the people of Israel. And 10 of the spies return and they say, the land is awesome. They all agree. The land is great. But 10 of them say, we can't get the land. The people in there are giants. There's too many. We're not going to make it. Joshua and Caleb tell the people of Israel, the people of God, that they can take the land, that they need to trust God, and they should not be afraid. Well, the Israelites, they threatened to stone Joshua and Caleb. And so it's going to be difficult to lead. And so Joshua needs to be strong and courageous, and he needs to hold on to and to carefully observe all of the instruction that God tells him, that Moses originally gave him. And that's going to be difficult because oftentimes he's going to lead and the people are not going to follow in walking in obedience. And that's hard. The third time is in chapter 1, verse 9, where God says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid and discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. You know, when we make the decision to follow Jesus, we need to understand that our lives will be filled with joy and with difficulty. God never promises us easy. Living a life of faith in Jesus is hard because he will call us to do things that we are not comfortable doing and things we can't do by our own strength. And the promise is always the same, that he will be with us. God tells Joshua, you be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged. Why would God say this? Because Joshua was about to face things that would strike fear in every man. Joshua was trying to lead the people, and that would cause him all sorts of discouragement. But God says, wherever you go, I will be with you. So as you seek to follow Jesus, we must be strong and courageous, to lead well, to obey God's word, and to rest on the promise that he will always be with us, no matter what happens. Have a great day, and we'll see you Sunday.